From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DiBiase, Primetime Capper, and it is time for Big Wave Boxing. And I have with me today the lovely, the Sportsnista. How you doing today? How's everything going? Live from Las Vegas. How's everything going with you today?
I'm good. It's Friday. I made it. You made it. It's good.
All right. Well, hopefully everything works out. I know I'm looking pretty slow and everything, but hopefully once we get done with the edit and everything like that, everything will work its way in and everything. That's how it usually goes down, I guess. But pretty much, how's life going in Vegas and everything like that? I know I've seen you at all those great UFC events and everything like that. So how's everything going with that?
Yeah, you know what? So UFC is currently in Abu Dhabi, so it's given everybody, here at the home base a little bit of a chance to regroup. So going good. I'm glad they were able to figure out how to have cards and for everything to be safe. I'm waiting for boxing to catch up.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Boxing needs to get its thing together. We've missed out on a lot of great fights for last year and everything like that. We were only able to get so many. I think the only one we really got, but it was kind of like they had to do it because they had to make the money. That was I would say the Danny Garcia and the Errol Spence fight. But I would say though the best fight I think that probably made a superstar in a sense this year was the Tank Davis Leo Santa Cruz fight, in my opinion. And I know a lot of people, they down Leo. Oh, he's not a big puncher and blah, 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 blah. But he's seasoned enough. He had enough of a resume to actually go at Tank and give Tank the credibility that Tank actually really needed to move forward. Floyd needed Diego Corrales and Chiquinito Hernandez, and Tank needed somebody like Leo Santa Cruz. So how you feel about that?
Yeah. You broke up just a little bit. What was the beginning of your question?
I was talking about the best fights of the year and everything like that. I said that Danny Garcia probably was one of our Danny Garcia, Errol Spence was probably the fight that we all knew was going to happen because we knew it was going to happen after he fought Porter.
Yeah.
But at the fight, I felt that made a big star. Now he's a big star in my opinion. And I know a lot of people probably will want to argue that point, but I would say Tank Davis became solidified himself as a big-time pay-per-view star with that fight with Leo Santa Cruz. I know Leo Santa Cruz, a lot of people were down on, oh, he's not a big puncher. He's coming from 126, blah, 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 blah. But he had the right resume for Tank at the time. And I think he pretty much put Tank over like he was supposed to, even though Leo gave him probably the most competitive fight you'll ever see Tank in to date. And I felt like that was his Chiquinito Hernandez, his Diego Corrales, all those guys that you need to build your resume up. And I think that he didn't win about it the right way. Him and Teofimo did everything correctly, in my opinion, this year.
I think so. So when it comes to Tank, I mean, looking back at that fight, I mean, you can argue that Leo points could have gone ahead and won that fight. He just got caught, which a lot of people predicted he was going to get caught. In terms of Tank being a pay-per-view star, I think we need one more fight to see that. I do think that he is in the question of being a pay-per-view star more so than the Charlo brothers are. And it's a weird thing because the Charlo brothers should actually be pay-per-view stars, but I think Tank surpasses them in the conversation.
I totally agree with that point right there, that he totally passes them up as a, on the pay-per-view level. But, he's done so much more in a short amount of time. In 18 months, he's sold out 3 different venues, actually now 4 different venues. And, the Charlo brothers, they were just they did everything slow with them, I feel, from their days at Golden Boy until now. Like, they're now starting to really look like, box office fighters. And I'm like, it took you guys this long to put them out there in a way, in a sense, to say that these guys are stars. They've been knocking guys out for the last 5-6 years. That's really what everybody shows up for the Charlo brothers, is for them to knock somebody out. You know, so pretty much, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But this was gonna really.
What do you think? Do you think it hurt them? Do you think it hurt them to be packaged all those years? And you see a little bit of tension between the two of them because of it, but because they're always packaged as the Charlo brothers, instead of kind of letting their own shine take the trajectory that was natural for them.
You know what? I think that you have a great point with that. I think what happened was that they should have been split up a bit more and kind of had their own showcases, so then they can get their own fan bases. They're like me and my brother. Like, they won't ever separate us two. And so that it gets us a little irritated because we both do a lot of hard work in our own entity. But the thing is, we're not twins either, but we're very close, like how twin brothers would be. So I understand exactly where they were coming from when they had those little tension moments and who's selling the fight and who's doing this and who's doing that. And, you know, pretty much they did a monster split when, you know, when Ronnie Shields wasn't no longer both of their trainers, you know what I mean? And then one goes on over here to coach to Arrow's trainer, and I hate that I'm losing his name, right? Coach James right now. Coach James. And,
James.
Yeah, so pretty much they got their own. They really want to step out in their own little ways. One's at 160, one's at 154. They'll never fight each other. So, you know, it's just gonna always be, you know, the brothers. You know what I mean? And so pretty much, I think that they're waiting on that day. To be honest with you. And I think that Canelo owes at least one of them a fight. So at some point, you know, so that's how I'm thinking with that one is. I
don't know. I mean, I think he's going to pass him up completely. I think he's going to pass him completely. I think it's either going to be after YILDRIM, you're going to see either Caleb Plant or Billy Joe Saunders. And I don't think he's ever going to fool around with them Charlo brothers.
Well, if he's chasing greatness, he needs to do it. Canelo, if you're chasing greatness, you need to go do that, buddy. That's all I can say.
Well, it's a weird thing, right? Like the whole like chasing greatness, like it's a conversation, but the truth is he's going to have all them belts. Like that got to count for more than the conversation.
Right. Now, let's go ahead and get to a guy that we really, really enjoy a lot. And we've talked about him many times, you know, when we have our boxing conversations and everything ringside, or, you know, whenever we're at these events. Deontay Wilder is now trying to push for that third fight. And he even turned down $10 million of step aside money to make sure that they get this third fight happening. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't blame him for being doggedly pursuing what he feels like is a huge missed opportunity on his record. However, I don't see that fight going any differently. In fact, I think it would go down worse for Deontay. I think Tyson would get him out there sooner than he did the previous time. If you look at it, each fight, Tyson Fury progressed in how he was able to dominate Deontay Wilder, but Deontay's got that wicked right hand, and so anything can happen for certain. I just think that Tyson Fury is the best heavyweight on the planet right now, and it really ain't even close. As in terms of what Deontay should do, he should become a better boxer. You know, I felt like all of that time. And listen, as much as I love JD, I think, you know, Jay is a decent man. He's been loyal to Deontay. He has worked his tail off. He's done a lot of things behind the scenes for him. But I do see Deontay's career being stifled by the fact that JD did not contribute to Deontay Wilder becoming a better boxer. He still has sloppy footwork. He still can't seem to box in the pocket. His hands he has those awkward, slappy kind of like jabs. And that goes down to training. And so somebody's got to take accountability for that. You've been with the man since he was 18 years old. So I do think it's problematic that he gets rid of who I consider the best man in the corner in terms of Mark Breland. and he sticks with JD simply because Jay's telling him what he wants to hear.
I agree. And I just think that maybe that, you know, pretty much, I know that a lot of people will say, well, he's probably going to walk through him again. But I just think that that country boy and that powerful right hand, if it can go, I don't know how much, if Tyson's chin has gotten stiffer or anything of that nature, but I'm thinking to myself, if he's able to go ahead and land one of those clean ones, I think that it could be lights out for Fury. And that's why the third fight is still just really a magnifying event, in my opinion. You know, but I know if we get down to boxing, you'll probably get Tyson Fury to have a Class A session and everything like that. But I feel like it's owed to Deontay because he did not need to give Tyson Fury a second fight. He could have went off and did what a lot of people do and say, we've seen even Canelo do what has learned Lara, walk off and say, hey, you know what? I didn't lose. Hey, they said the fight was a draw. I'm moving on. You know what I mean? And he rightfully gave him his rematch, and he could have went ahead and just fought Anthony Joshua like he should have. And that's why I'm still but
you think you think Eddie Hearn was going to let him fight? I don't think Eddie Hearn was going to see any parts of Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder.
Well, you know, they were going back and forth. Shelly Finkel came in. Shelly Finkel was there as well, too, to try to make this thing happen. And it just never could happen. But you know what? At the end of the day, I think that you're on to something with that as well, too, that this just wasn't going to be it. You know what I mean? And that Anthony Joshua does not want to have somebody of, you know, Wilder's accord beat him. He's an Olympic gold medalist. You know, Deontay luckily was a bronze medalist, and you know he just doesn't want the embarrassment of it. But you're going to take the embarrassment of what happened with you and Andy Ruiz. I don't know. I just think that he should take the. I just don't. Boxers nowadays, they just don't want to be legends. I don't get it. They just want to be named.
I think that is the difference between. Well, I think there's a difference between being champion and being legend. You can be I mean, Devin Haney's a champion, right? I mean, can Devin Haney be a legend? I don't know. But I think a lot of these guys and girls want to be champion. Very few of them want to be legend. I think Clarissa Shields wants to be a legend. She's already a champ, but she's chasing a whole different level of greatness. And I think Canelo also, you know, in his own way, is also chasing being a legend. He's collecting these straps in the way that he's collecting them because he wants to be in that legendary conversation.
Understood. And, you know, that's what I think. And that's why I respect Deontay so much, because that's exactly what he was trying to do. He went ahead, he did the little program that they wanted him to do these 3 fights for us real quick so we can build back up this fight with Anthony, and we can make it happen. And then, you know, I just really feel like maybe the promoters got in the way of this one, but it's okay. It's okay. We never got rid of Lennox Lewis, so it happens, you know?
Right? You know, one more thing about Wilder is that if you look at kind of his last 4 fights, with the exception of Brazil, he was losing every one of those fights until the knockout came. He was losing to Ortiz, he was losing to Fury, and then, you know, and the second time he was losing to Fury as well.
Understood. And then, you know, at the same time, he was having fights that were lasting a little bit too long with guys like Chris Arreola, and fight, you know, just where you would think that he would be putting these guys out, and he wasn't doing it. And, you know, but then you see Chris
goes back to the boxing.
And you see the relationship he has with, you know, PBC, you'd be like, well, you know why he kind of didn't knock him out, because, you know, Chris is a good guy. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. You know what I mean? Chris
was having mercy.
He's a good guy, you know. So pretty much, I love Chris Arreola. He gave me a great interview when we were in Dallas. That's the interview that's actually like kickoff interview on my YouTube page as well too. So big shout out to Chris Arreola as well. All right, so let's get off the heavyweights because we're gonna get real frustrated if we keep talking about this, because I know you and me both, we thinking about the great ones like Ali and Foreman and all. They never ran from each other. They was running at each other. That's the difference. Right. You know what I mean?
For 15 rounds, Joe.
Right,
for 15.
But their promoter listened to them. The promoter wasn't telling them what to do. Yeah. Promoter go out there, go rent the damn go rent the venue, go get the tickets ready, and go sell the fight. That's all that you got to go do. Yeah. Stop worrying about cash cows and golden gooses. Right. Go to other fighters. Yeah. So you know,
that's true. That's true.
Right. You know, but Canelo YILDRIM, Canelo's putting on his big boy pants now, as we can see. And he's ready.
One leg at a time. So, one leg at a time.
Right. Because I don't know if he knows that this ain't gonna be as easy as Oscar and them made it look. You know what I mean? And you know, you're not really one of the more vocal people as is. So I don't know how we're gonna be able to really do this on a grand stage. I just think that we're gonna be filling Canelo's pockets.
So, it's weird. I mean, you know, WBC came up with the, you know, franchise championship, and then they had to make Canelo Smith, and now, you know, for the vacant. And I feel like Canelo had to do this fight kind of as like a give back for WBC.
Right.
I mean, I think it's fine. I don't really have a lot of people are calling it, you know, you saw Tim Bradley, what he had to say about YILDRIM. And I mean, I do not like it when fighters or anybody actually disparages another dude ready to get in there and lay down what he's fitting to lay down. I thought it was strange that Tim Bradley keeps saying stuff like this, especially as he often says, you know, a man comes out of the ring and he's never the same. So why are you going to say, you know, like he's not capable, he's not supposed to be there? He's supposed to be there. They made him the mandatory. You know, he's going to go in there and fight just like anybody else would go in there and fight. I think Canelo is in a whole different class than he is. I don't expect it to go all 12 rounds, but, you know, I'm never going to say like this dude is a tomato can. He's the mandatory.
What kills me though is why Darrell get the call. Darrell beat YILDRIM, and you know, I would think that he was next up in line. He's the one that handed the belt back over to David Benavidez when he fought him in September.
Yeah.
Right. And
well, look, that fight David Benavidez would be the better call.
Right.
If you really about it at 168, you calling David Benavidez if you really about it. I mean, I think that is really crappy what's going to happen with this young man over the next year. People are going to duck him. And yeah, David made a big mistake. He lost probably $10 million, you know, behind all this when it's all said and done. And ain't nobody trying to fight him if they don't have to.
Right. Right. Agreed. And I think
that's the fight to make.
Right. WBC, what they're doing is they're going to put him on timeout for a little bit. So pretty much, you know, so he's going to have to sit there and try to find some opponents to tune up with and things of that nature. And
he's in camp right now.
Yeah.
I know he's in camp. So hopefully we'll see him somewhere, but he is in camp in Big Bear right now.
Well, hopefully everything is a go. I think that maybe he might need to start thinking about 175 as well, too. I know that everybody wants him to stick around at 168, but if you can't make 168, then you're going to have to move up, in my opinion.
What you think about, you know, it'd be a fun fight. I mean, but Edgar Berlanga and David Benavidez. You got Mexico and Puerto Rico. It'll be fun. Like neither one of them like have a strap right now, but it'd be a good look. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have no idea what Edgar Berlanga is capable of other than smoking fools and knocking them the hell out. I have no idea what skills he has. Like, can you tell?
Well, I'm waiting for him to bring him one of these rugged journeymen. You know what I mean? Somebody who's kind of crafty.
You got to fight Clay?
Huh?
He got to fight Clay. What's the weight class for old boy Clay? You know what I'm talking about?
Heavyweight.
Is he? All right.
A cruiser?
No, I don't think he's a heavyweight. Maybe he's cruiser. Yeah.
But I think maybe somebody crafty could give him a little bit of a run. But you're right, though. Berlanga is just an absolute monster. And I'm thinking you're on to something. You know, they gave David a big shot. He was only 15 fights in, and nobody thought he was really fighting anybody either. And then, you know, you throw him out there to Berlanga, you throw him out there to Benavidez. So you probably can set up a fight that will become, you know, a pretty epic fight that you can sell on regular TV, because you guys don't have that big of a name yet, but it would be a great fight on a Fox or on a ESPN, and I know that it would bring a lot of eyes to it as well too. But Berlanga, I'm like this with the kid. Take your time. You know what I mean? Not 25 in a row or whatever you need to do, and when you go ahead and get your turn, then you'll have your say at the end of the day. Yeah, just keep smoking, fools. That's all you got to do, because somebody's going to think that they're going to be able to really tango with you. You know what I mean? And it's going to wind up being the opportunity of your career. You know,
that kid's going to sell pay-per-views. He's already selling out, you know, in that tri-state area. He is going to sell pay-per-views.
Yeah, and you're definitely right about it. This is, you know what? It's lightweight the same way that they went ahead and they put together Tyson as well too. Tyson was doing little fights over there in Utica, you know, having the little fights, and then they started throwing him on other cards over in Cossaville, over in Connecticut. Then, you know, he's over here Foxwoods, and then you got to send him on down to you know, you send him on down to Jersey. You know, he's fighting undercards over at Boardwalk after a while. Then next thing you know, wow, Mike Tyson, you're the main event over at the you're the main event over here at the Plaza over here down the Wayway, and you're not even the heavyweight yet. So, you know, and you're going against a guy who has a Jerry curl. So, you know, it's you know, just work it out. And
right. What's his name? Mitch Blood? What was Mitch?
Well, he fought, actually, I think he fought 3 guys with a Jerry curl. Mitch Green was the most famous one.
Mitch Green.
But then he fought another guy who was literally like somebody that they took out of like a chicken shack, it seemed like. You know what I mean? Like the brother was about 6'7", I think. They always show this fight when they show the Mike Tyson greatest hits. He's about the 4th, 5th guy that you'll see in the Mike Tyson greatest hits. And then
he's like one of them characters from the video game, the Punch Out.
Yeah. Yes. So that was, you know, so I really do like Berlanga. I think that he has a lot, and you know, he has all these celebrities really very intrigued on what he's doing. And when you can deliver the big knockout, you're going to have a lot of fans, and people just have to understand that. And that's why a lot of these younger fighters who are in the lower ranks, who aren't knocking anybody out, are worried. They're like, why aren't we getting any love? It's because you box so well, but you're not putting people out. You know, we don't want to go to sleep. We want to see somebody go to sleep.
Yeah, it's entertainment. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
unfortunately, that's how it is.
So let's get down to it. I know you're excited about this card coming up this weekend. The hometown kid, well, he's a Vegas transplant now, but our boy Angelo Leo, he's going to be defending his belt against Fulton. What are you thinking about that?
I'm glad to see this fight finally pop off, you know, because of COVID and all this other stuff. It was hard for them to actually get it locked down. But Angelo Leo, so 2 things that are like intangibles with him. One, he's very coachable. He soaks in things, and then it's almost like a scientific experiment for him when he's training, to try and try again to perfect the training that he's getting. So I like watching him. He's somebody who seems to grow, to get better in each fight. Struggled a little bit last time that we saw him out, but seen him in training. Think that he's worked out some kinks, but really excited to see him back.
Awesome. Well, I say that I'm glad Fulton was able to get his get it all together and everything like that. I really wish that I know that it was a man.
Yeah.
That's why they had to make this fight happen. But I really want to see my guy Rais Aleem get the shot because he fought so well, and really that's what that setup was for. If he would have fought Fulton that night, Aleem would have been able to get that next shot, but now he's going to have to do another, I guess, eliminator fight and wait the winner of that fight. But
yeah, he's on the card.
Most dangerous in that division right now as well too. I want to talk about all the fights that are on the card.
Yeah, Rice is still on the card. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that man, Aleem, because I was trying to get him on my other show this week, and he was like, "I'm going to be traveling that day." So pretty much, I think that guy has a golden opportunity.
He does. He's one to watch in that whole Mayweather promotion stable. Rais Aleem is somebody definitely to keep your eye on.
Because, he also is.
I know, like, Rolly gets all the pub, right, because of all his social media and how wild he is and all. But Rais is somebody you really should be keeping an eye on.
Right, because, he's doing more grown man stuff. He's more of a he's more chill. He has his child, and he's real centered and things like that. And, he's from back east and everything. He's from Michigan. So the roots are, the real humbleness is there and everything like that.
That's Midwest. That ain't East.
Yeah, and our boy Rolly's he's Vegas born. That's a Vegas baby right there. So he gonna be what he is at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And I know he told me he was doing a media blackout at this moment as well too. So he doesn't want to get on none of my shows, but it's cool though. I still love you, Rolly. No worries, man. And so pretty much, I understand. But the thing is, though, I really hope that one of these guys give Rolly give him a fight, man. One of y'all, Devin, Ryan, just do it because you need to. That's what the.
Oh no, man! There was a lot of controversy over Rolly's last win. I mean, a lot of folks that felt that he lost that fight. I thought that he had lost that fight, and somehow he manages to pull it out on points. I mean, he just still needs. He's got some maturing to do as a fighter and as a young man.
Yeah, I think after a while, it's just lessons. That's all, and he'll be fine. The thing is about him, he's not as crazy as they think he is. It's just kind of like just pretty much like what he does for the boxing stuff. You know what I mean? And he's a guy who didn't start early like the rest of them. He didn't start as a 5-year-old or anything like that. He started in his teenage years, and he was taking on a challenge from his father, from what he always says. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty much that's all it is at the end of the day. So pretty much Rollies, I look forward to his fight as well too. I think this Showtime card is going to be a jam-packed, all action, and man, I cannot wait. Now, we know that you follow the ladies extensively. I do as well too, but you get there and you get the good interviews with them, and they be loving them some Sportsnista and everything like that. So, I got to get the scoop with you. So pretty much the state of women's boxing to you right now.
I think it's in better shape than it ever has been. Of course, COVID presented a few setbacks, just like it did for everything. But, we did not see Clarissa Shields in 2020. That's her promoter. Clarissa was ready. They done drove the gal on over to MMA as a result of all that. But she is fighting in March, I believe, on an all-female card in Detroit on Fight TV. She's headlining that card, and as she should be. It's the first time I think a woman has a female fight has headlined any boxing card since 2001, when it was Layla Ali and Frazier was her opponent. So you think about it, from 2001 to 2021, you're talking 20 years it took for that to happen again. And it took a double Olympian who took her own career into her hands and was very vocal about any and everything along the way. And so I'm happy for Clarissa. I wish that she would get more boxing in. I think it's going to be a bit of a steep hill for her in MMA, but hey, she's committed and she looks great. Have you seen her lately? Damn, she looks good. She's really, really good.
She looks good, and I think that this is just going to be something that she does to make sure that they, they fix that they fix that check that they want to offer to her as well too.
Yeah, before you fix your mouth to ask me for a fight, better have enough zeros on that.
Right. And then I think that she's gonna try to prove now that she can actually sell the fight as well. Go ahead, Clarissa Shields.
Yeah, Clarissa, I think that this gig for her on Fight TV is a big deal, not just so she can be active, but she's going to prove that she can actually sell some tickets. And because it is going to be in her hometown of I believe Detroit. It's going to be in Detroit, Flint adjacent. And then also pay-per-view as well. And so I'm really happy for her because she decided that she was going to make things happen. Now, women's boxing is not just about Clarissa Shields, although I think she's at the top of the food chain. You still have Jessica McCaskill out there waiting on her rematch with Cecilia Breakers. Cecilia's waiting on the rematch more so than Jessica is. And then, of course, Katie Taylor is kind of like, the holy grail for that entire division. So there's a lot of fights to make. Ebony Bridges got her deal going with Matchroom and Eddie Hearn if she can get out of Australia and once the UK opens back up again. So I think there's some names out there that are going to be entertaining and exciting to watch for women's boxing for 2021.
All right, but you know what? You jump so ahead of me, girl. And I'm telling you, right now, I want to ask you about Jessica McCaskill. She's my favorite right now. Feel like they really have overlooked her, and I really feel like she needs more respect. She's a unified champion. She got all the straps literally in her division. She beat somebody who was a champion of that same oak for the last 5 years, and
undisputed.
Just disregarded it, but they needed to really. There needed to be more flowers for Jessica. She did a damn good job when there's the plus 375 underdog as well too, and did the damn thing.
And she did it the hard way.
Right.
She had to go take her to the distance. Jessica McCaskill is 9-2. Also in that division, you've got Katie Taylor, who's 17-0, and then Cecilia Breakers is 36-1. So there's a lot of experience ahead of her. She did lose to Katie Taylor early on, but the way that she beat Cecilia has to be, she was on the list, many lists as a female fighter of the year for 2020, and I think she definitely earned that. But that fight with her and Katie Taylor has got to be made sometime later in 2021.
All right. Well, you all heard it here. That fight needs to be made. It does
need to be made.
And
I don't think she's trying to stick around for much longer either. Like Jessica's got a whole other business plan for herself. And she owns a gym or co-owns a gym in Chicago. I just think that her entrepreneurial spirit, I think she was like a banker or something like that, or a stockbroker. She understands how to make money is what I'm saying. And she ain't got to get punched in the face for 10 years to do that.
Right, exactly. And one last question. What do you think boxing needs to do to get to where UFC is right now? Meaning like where there could be more eyes on it without being such a heavy promotion. I noticed that UFC never has to over promote what they're doing. Like boxing does, they literally
they promote the crap out of it.
Right. But you know what I mean though, where they don't have to go too crazy about it to where they are going to be like, well, hopefully we can get this amount. They know the number that they're about to get. You know what I mean? So what do you think about that? What do you think boxing needs to do to get to that level? So cover MMA more a little just as extensively, but you've been covering more of that because you've had more of that this 2020.
I think it's a three-prong approach, and I've thought a lot about it. So one of the disadvantages boxing has is that the fights go longer. With UFC and MMA, you have the opportunity for a fight to be ended in 30 seconds just because of the style of combat that they are engaging in. And so that's the disadvantage. Boxing fans do not get the fights that they want. Boxing fans get the fights that they pay for. If boxing fans continue to pay for these crappy ass cards with matchups that don't nobody want or care about, guess what you're gonna get? You're gonna get more of those. That's the issue. And also, this is old school, like let's do big TV and well, they produce, some of the promoters do produce some of their own content. UFC is prolific at promoting content. You've got UFC Embedded, you've got the app, you've got UFC Fight Pass, they've got the ESPN partnership. Heck, they were on ABC, on the Disney Network, cage fighting in the middle of the day on the Disney Network. That is bananas to me. So you have to be able to compete with that. And I don't think it's the same fan base. And so also boxing promoters have to understand the power of social media. It's not just up to the fighters to promote their own fights. You have to get busy on all of these platforms, helping these fighters. A lot of these guys are entrepreneurs. They're fighters. They're boxers. That's what they do. So I think if there's an investment in promoting grassroots promotions of fighters, I think you can start to see a bit of a change. And hey, these YouTubers, these exhibitions, I don't want to see them at the top of the card no more. If you got to have a gimmick to promote Devin Haney on a card, you already lost, son. Already lost. If you can put them on the card, they just can't be at the top of the card.
I understand. You know, it was crazy. And I give you another great example. You know, you got Booboo Andretti, longtime middleweight champion. He had to play the second fiddle Jake Paul fight. I'm there in Miami tonight, and we went to watch Booboo fight so bad, but it went on so late. Boy, I want to go home. You know what I mean? Because as soon as Jake finishes his fight, about 25 to 30% of the crowd left because, you know, it's time to go home. That's what they're thinking. And then, you know, Booboo goes out there and puts on a splendid performance. And pretty much, you know, at the end of the day, he's going to have 4 or 5 different media members there. And, you know, pretty much it is what it is. But I just felt bad for Booboo. And I felt bad for Jojo Diaz and Kevin as well too, because those guys were in a world-class championship fight, and they had to fight maybe 3 hours before, you know, the whole Jake Paul situation and everything. Well, about an hour before that.
That's goofy.
They were the fight right before his fight. Then it was Booboo's fight after that. So, you know,
it's goofy.
And, you know, Jake Paul, love him, had a great interview with him and everything like that. But you know, they even know that they really need to just have their own night of doing that. I don't think professionals need to be involved, and you know, that's pretty much what it is to me. And that's where I think we have the difficulty at, is because professional boxers are involving themselves with this as well too.
Well, you're not going to see UFC have like a Backstreet Boy fighting Donnie Wahlberg from New Kids on the Block in a cage. Right. You're not going to see that. A, they don't have to do it, and B, it does actually affect the quality, the perceived value of their product. Now, if you really want to get those numbers of the YouTubers, help your fighters build up their social media. Like, there's a way to do it without, like if, and you know, boxing fans are sick of not getting what they want. If you go to a restaurant and they consistently don't have what you go there for, you're going to stop. You're going to go to another restaurant. You'll find something else to eat. And that's what's happened with boxing. Unfortunately, though, we've got promoters who are like aging out of the fight game as well. They've got an incredible amount of experience, but most of them don't have a Twitter page. They don't tweet very often, you know, and if they are, somebody else is doing it for them, with the exception of Leonard. You know, I think Leonard will jump on there and say so.
Right. Leonard is always talking on Twitter. You know, any old Floyd highlights you see, I remember that night, you know. Like, of course we know.
Yeah. I mean, fool, but you even got PR people who don't get it.
Right.
Like some of these boxers even have PR people who don't see value in digital promotion. And that is mind blowing. But you understand though, when you see a promotion like UFC, just like boo-booing on everybody, because they got it. You know, they're nimble, they're flexible, and they are giving fans the fights that they want to see. That's just how it is. Agreed. But hey, 135 might change things this year. I think those 35ers, you know, some at 30, they might be like the key to actually giving boxing the momentum that it needs. If we can see the right guys being matched up, it might actually be a turning point.
Well, I know I can't wait to see these guys go up to 140. I know a fight that a lot of people aren't talking about yet, but it's going to be a classic when it does go down. If everything goes off the way it's supposed to go off, Ramirez-Taylor at 140.
Yeah, you know, listen, anytime somebody mentioned Jose Ramirez, I smile. Like, I just dig that guy. In and outside of the ring, he's doing things the right freaking way. You know, and even just above that, you got Bud Crawford engaged in this ridiculous other side of the street conversation. But like, you get that guy in there and he's actually matched up with the right opponent, you know, people are going to be excited about it.
Right.
I got respect for Danny Garcia, but you really wanted to see Danny versus Errol Spence. Like, that's what everybody wanted? No.
Right. Just resume builders for Errol, you know, so they can say it's just names now. Mikey Garcia, Sean Porter now it's my boy Danny Garcia, and who's up next? That's the question. Well, Kell Brick's on the list now too. Was on the list first, so you know, pretty much that's four. That
Errol need to go ahead and fight Terrence Crawford, man. You know, like, but neither of them need to have a tune-up fight or anything. They both ready for this fight. Like, it should happen. It just should happen.
Agreed. I think so. I think the public needs it, wants it. It's at the point now to where it's an now or never situation. Y'all stop worrying about the money. Just going up in there and give us a classic, you know, make and really build a legitimate legacy. But I would say, I think that Crawford's done enough. If Crawford was to retire tomorrow, he has no complaints.
Right.
Two-time lineal champion. I don't know, three different weight divisions, and he's out literally every single one of those weight divisions except for 147 because nobody over at PBC wanted to fight him. Okay. You know, that's what I'm with Terrence.
And then he also passes the eye test. A lot of people talk about his resume. Who did he fight? Look at him. Watch him fight, man. Like, that's got to count for something.
It don't really matter who was on the resume, who he fought. The guys he fought at the top in championship fights all had great records. And all what happened was he made them look like amateur hour. Floyd did the same exact thing when he was fighting at welterweight, 130. And you know, you just got to get over the fact that, you know, he ain't went in there with their favorite. You know what I mean? Get over yourself with all that.
Yeah.
Your favorite didn't want to fight him, okay? It's that simple. You know what I mean? So
this is true.
These people don't get that part. That's the great excuses that they all want to make. But everybody I talk to is enthralled with Bud Crawford, and ESPN has done a great job of showing him off over the last 3 or 4 years since they joined up with ESPN. And, you know, Max Kellerman has done a great job of pushing the Terrence Crawford bandwagon as well, too. And I just think that, you know, he was the last of the good old days with HBO. He was the last star at HBO, simply him, Canelo, Triple G. They was the last.
That's it. That's it.
You got to understand that you got to respect Crawford, because Crawford had some great Saturday nights on the big network. And
heck yeah.
And a lot of people remember him from those nights. So stop saying don't nobody know who Terrence Crawford is.
Right.
Seriously.
How about that?
Yeah, he had on the Saturday nights. You know what I mean? So it is what it is at the end of the day. It might have not have been in Vegas, but you know what? It was a sellout in Nebraska. They'll take that 22,000 any day of the week.
Shoot, heck yeah.
Yeah, you know that. All right, girlie. Give me your handles. Let them know about that awesome show that you do every single week with your awesome guests and all that good stuff. Go ahead. You got
thank you. So most of the time you can find me on Instagram at @the_Sportsnista, and also on Facebook, the Sportsnista, but on twice a week, usually Wednesdays and Thursdays, I do a live show. It's a combat sports show, so it's a mix of boxing and MMA. And that is Facebook/Levels Show. You can find there. I have 2 co-hosts. On one day, we have Jeremy Long. Another day, we have Ralph Velez, who is also the Mayweather Promotions ring announcer. And so we get it cracking.
Right. You just know she's the star, though, y'all. Okay. Just know that. She's Michael.
I'm all right.
She's Michael, and they're Marlon and Tito. Okay. Just know that.
No.
Shout out to Ramblin' Ralph, and shout out to Mr. Longy as well, too. Great host as well. But Sportsnista, she does the damn thing. I got to give my girl her props. Always a pleasure speaking to you as well. You know that. And I hope everything goes well, and that you keep being able to jump into those events. You got more access to than I do right now, since you're there in Vegas. Hopefully you'll be able to catch my guy Jahari Tucker as well, too, on the 13th of February live. Hopefully you can go watch him fight.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I'm pressing some buttons, see what we can do.
All right, y'all better make sure. Hey, Bob, you better get the Sportsnista in there. You know she brings a lot of influence. She brings the fight to the fight. You know that. So it is
way too much. Hey, always ready on fight night too. So you know I come ready.
She comes ready. She did that red dress. If you already know, that's the Sportsnista right there. Fight night. All right, y'all. This is another episode of Big Wave Boxing with the one and only Pop DBICD Primetime Kappa. And you guys make sure to catch it on the YouTube. And I'm gone.
This is a Prime Wave Media production.